talking matters football, one man, Jan Koops, the Dutch retiree, has been here coaching Ingwe on 2 different stints, but he's not a very happy man. Take a listen to what he had to say regarding his deals and health situation.
So they did not pay me that 10 months. 10 months, then every time I sent an SMS via a lawyer, only not to sue, only that he had to pay the 10, yeah? Not any reaction. The FKF was talking with the FC, not any reaction.
And of course, that's Jan Koops, former Leopards coach. Basil, I'll start with you. I don't know whether you support Ingwe.
He is.
He is. You've been smoked out.
No, I'm a Sirkal.
You're Sirkal. Okay. But the question is contractual obligations. And we've seen this, not just at Leopards and Gore. But Koops said, I've not been paid. My former dues, he's claiming around at least 9 million. And he says attempts to reach the club to solve this amicably has run into a brick wall. And he's saying there, he is unwell, he needs treatment, and he's not able to cater for.
Yeah, the biggest problem we have as Kenyan clubs is professionalism. So look at FC Leopards. Jan Koops has been owed for a very long time. If there were people who were planned, they would have even sat down with Jan Koops and just deciphered a way of how they could be paying him over time to finish this. But it's something that we've been seeing with all the clubs. We end contracts with players, coaches, prematurely or just without even thinking, and probably is how we structure our contracts with these coaches and players. So at the end of the day, this coach knows that he has something against that team or over that team when it comes to when they are dismissed without they're just dismissed dismally. So for clubs, I'd like to so that clubs can at least engage coaches. I mean lawyers also who are smart enough, sports law, who know sports law, because I think this is the biggest issue we have. How many coaches have FC Leopards paid or owed, or maybe, so many? Same to Gor Mahia, same to national team. It's something that is really disturbing as a national team.
Okay, Zita, not Zita, but Wakili, really quick. You are a Wakili and this is your forte. And we are discussing this with Jacob, and Jacob actually couldn't really understand why Koops do not want to leave Kenya for his native land, where probably he has better social welfare, but not taking away the fact that we have violated his rights as a coach. He was an employee. These are owed to him. How can he proceed with this?
Whenever contractual obligations are violated, then he can easily just get his dues by virtue of, on the basis of having had the contract breached. But then a scenario here is where we do not know what that contract stated. We do not know what his deliverables were, because it speaks a lot if, again, you are owed by this club, you worked for them, you are not a citizen of this country. You probably would have better protection in your country, but you insist on staying back here. There's an issue, not to sound xenophobic, but then it speaks volumes if you have a foreigner who would rather languish here than go to their country, because they know we tend to value foreigners. That has been the trend with our clubs, and that you can always see, whether it's a player, whether it's a coach, despite the fact that this coach may not be the best locally, may not be the best here, but the fact that he is a foreigner, you will give them contracts with large amounts of money that we cannot pay in salaries. We have seen that happening. If you compare what a foreign coach in a Kenyan club earns versus what a local coach in a Kenyan club would earn, or even players, then you see the disparity and question, are we hiring these coaches on merit? Because yes, AFC owes Koops this amount of money. Yes, he may have been dismissed And AFC needs to own up and pay his dues. It's unfortunate that we would sit here and see a coach languishing in such a manner. But then the question would be, was that the best AFC would find? Did Koops bring anything more than a local coach would have, at less the amount? Because we have to own up, our clubs have not been doing much to sustain themselves. In fact, it's always a question how FKF keeps on clearing teams without the proof that they are able to honor their financial burden, or to carry their financial burdens through.
Zita, real quick, we are running out of time, but the Koops situation, we've seen it even with the players. Gore Leopards have been the most guilty, and that's a fact. They've been sanctioned even by CAF for contractual breach. How do you get out of this situation? Because you have somebody who is 80 plus, his health is frail, he's saying you owe me money, I can't access treatment. What's the solution? How do you go out of this?
There's a lot of solution we've given them even here, saying that put aside a team for marketing, market your teams, go and look for sponsors. You don't need to have one sponsor that says that I am the only sponsor who's going to sponsor this team for the whole 3 years. Remember, that was the things that they always put in the contract. But again, you can have even more than 3-4 sponsors bringing money in, and you have a very nice fan base. Talking about FC Leopards, they have a very nice fan base whereby they can convert even the fan base into bringing funds into to the team. But again, it depends who is the chairman. Again, it depends who is in the neck. Again, it depends, because at the end of it, the decision is not going to be made by one person. The decision is not going to be made by the fans. The decision is not going to be made by by the players. The decision needs to be made by the neck members of the clubs on how to bring in money. And that is it. If they don't have that, the urge, or they don't have that ile kutaka pesa, wewe hiyo kidogo maybe wako sawa naye.
You see, real quick, maybe 30 seconds. Koops, actually, we all know him, and he's a gentleman through and through. And even conversation with our reporter who went to film this, he said, I don't want to take them to court. I don't want to drag them to court. You see, he feels I had a very good service there. I had a good relationship with them. But here, how do you help him, so to speak?
No, that one is a very bad approach, because you deal with people the way they deal with you. And I'm not saying that, I'm not inciting anybody. You see, Swila, this is the issue. If a person says, I've not been paid, is even surviving, from our reporter, he said, goodwill of people. Then if a person owes you money in a tune of 9 million, then that person should help you, you know, to get out of that trouble. But there's a matter that you Brenda raised here. And if we were to discuss it, that would be akin to opening a can of worms, Swila. The issue of coaches and players not being paid, I believe, in Kenya, is not about even lack of knowledge that maybe lawyers would supply. It's a question of, it's a business in a way. That's how I'll look at it. Because if a person brings a coach, like for example, let me give you the example of Niva, who came to Gor Mahia the other day. He came, he is not even last 5 months, and he has gone. What we are not told is whether there was money for him to be paid because of that contract being ended that early. So the question is, who brings these coaches? How do they talk? Because if I come and, you see, like what we talked about Firat maybe knows that, try to touch me, and I'm going somewhere.
Absolutely.
And maybe that can be an arrangement between Isia and a certain coach, that we are going to have this kind of business, and out of it we are going to make money. That one leaves a lot to be said. But also, I would say, Swila, honestly, from a humanitarian side of view, even if a person is your jirani and has never worked for you, when they are in such a situation we have seen for Koops, then you need to be kind to them.
Absolutely.
I think AFC need to facilitate the treatment of that coach.
Absolutely. Our good friend here, Dan Shikandra, please look into the welfare of Jan Koops. And of course, we give you the right of reply. If you want to be here next week to shed more light on this, Dan Shikandra, you're more than welcome. And of course, we will be staying or keeping close tabs on that story. And now let's go to the NBA or the basketball. And of course, Kenya is gearing to host the BAL Elite 16. That's the